Good morning. Good morning. I'm Reverend Karen Lewis. I'm one of the senior ministers here at the New Vision Center, and I want to add my welcome to each and every one of you who is here in the sanctuary, who is joining us on live stream. Thank you for spending time of your morning with us, especially during this time. So welcome. I like to echo what Karen so beautifully said, welcome home. Yes, this is our home. This is the place where we feel warm and connected, where we celebrate with one another. And during this week, we had a couple opportunities to celebrate out there on our beautiful new patio. I think I'm going to call it the new patio for the next 5-6 years. What do you think? I think I'm just going to go with that. It was so lovely. On Wednesday evening, we had our traditional gratitude service. We had 15 RSVPs, so we put out chairs for 35 because we know us, right? We know we are not an RSVP kind of a community. 50 beloveds showed up. 50 beloveds, yes. I think we have a picture. That was just half of the patio, and then it was all around. So it was wonderful, and it was so touching to me, for me, how everyone was just a big yes for getting more chairs, for making room, for welcoming, for helping out with the pies. We had a great pie social afterwards. And that was just the prelude to go into Thanksgiving Day. And that's when we had about 30, 35 people here, and we shared amazing, amazing food. And there are some pictures of that. And Molly entertained us with some trivia question and some questionable jokes, I'm just going to say. But we want to do it again next year for sure. They were fun. They were fun. So thank you to everyone who came out, everyone who had a hand in that. That is what community truly feels like. So thank you. For those of you who don't know me, by now you have heard the accent. You know, I wasn't born in this country. And this is a time of year where I most miss just the traditions that I grew up with. And I imagine it's the same for everyone. If you were born in a different country or in a different state or even just across town, that there are things that you are connected with, yearning for, that sense of being homesick for those things. And when I think about this time of year particularly, I connect with all of the traditions that we had around Advent. In Germany, every family has an Advent wreath. I have to make sure I say it the English way. So if you're wondering what word I'm using when I say Advent, that's just the German word for it. But we all know what we're talking about, right? Those 4 Sundays prior to Christmas, where our brothers and sisters who are of the Christian faith celebrate and really prepare themselves to celebrate what used to be the second coming of the Christ. In the olden days, this time of preparation was not to be ready on Christmas Day to receive gifts or to celebrate the birth of the Christ child. It was to prepare oneself to be ready and able to receive the second coming of Christ. Now here in our New Thought teaching, the way we think about that is this is the time for us to prepare ourselves, to move away anything that is in the way of becoming so clear that the Christ consciousness is in each and every one of us, alive and well now. That is how we look at this preparation time. And so to remind us through the next 4 weeks of this, I brought an Advent wreath. It's a modern version. You see there's no wreath, but it has the 4 candles. And what happens during this time, that today is the first Advent, and so today all over Germany, in literally every household, the first candle is lit. And it is the candle that represents hope. Hope. Here in the New Vision Center, we are going to go ahead and do this tradition for the next 4 weeks. Next week, Reverend Leslie is going to wrap up our annual theme of the hero's journey, which has been fabulous this year. And so she will wrap it up, and we will just have a short acknowledgement of Advent. And then I'm going to be speaking 2 more Sundays and bring in the meaning of those Sundays. Now, as I was thinking about this, how do I fit this all in so it makes sense, not just for me, but for everyone who is walking with us through this time? And what I became so aware of, that this is truly a time of waiting. Isn't that what makes us feel all fuzzy and go like, yay, waiting? Who particularly enjoys waiting? Show of hand. Yeah, not even online. No hands went up on that one, right? Waiting. I am known to drive way across different ways, so I don't have to wait in line on the freeway if there is an accident or something. I don't like to wait. If there is, a line at the grocery store and it's not moving as fast as I think it should, Karen comes out, and this is just horrible to say. Don't repeat that to anybody. I'm working on it. So waiting. And I came across this book. It is called The 7 Spiritual Gifts of Waiting by Holly Whitcomb. Oh, did we already see the doggy? Is that what happened? Yeah, I know. Isn't that a cool picture? So the 7 spiritual gifts of waiting. If we are willing to look at waiting differently, if we are willing to open up to asking ourselves, what might be the gift in this time? We are blessed with many of these gifts. And so, as you can see, there are patience, loss of control, which on the surface doesn't really sound like a gift, right? Loss of control. Living in the presence, compassion, gratitude, humility, and trust in God. And so for the next 3 Sundays that I'm speaking, we will walk these out. And today we're going to anchor more into the gift of patience and this loss of control. And I'm going to put everybody's mind at ease, so you stay with me. This experience that we collectively walked through, and we continue to walk through this pandemic, has that not shown us how little control we truly have? Yeah. It was truly a time where I feel like I was woken up from this fallacy, this idea that I have control of what's happening. And so for the last 18, 20 months, we had an opportunity to walk it out. And so today I will offer a couple more ideas on how to be with the realization how little control we truly have. But first, let's take a look at patience. This idea of patience. We'll start off with this quote by Henri Nouwen. He says, "Patience is an extremely difficult discipline precisely because it counteracts our unreflective impulse to flee or to fight." So let's talk about that. You probably, if you were here last Sunday or if you watched online or saw the amazing talk that Reverend Leslie gave last week, there was a moment in her talk where she was talking about this hero's journey and how it has brought forth a new me, and that we are really invited to have a look at what served me and what is serving me now as far as qualities that I hold dear, values, perhaps the way I am, those things, and then add to it the data that I receive of where I feel uplifted, life affirmed, and where I have a feeling of perhaps not. Do you remember that moment, right? And she had this wonderful, wonderful hand motion where she talked about that when she feels that she's in a space or in an area that doesn't feel right anymore because we all change, right? We all grow. We become new beings. She did this. Do you remember that? It was so powerful for me. And I am thinking about that, and I have been thinking about that all week long. This idea that inside of me, and I assume inside of each one of us, is this very deep impulse to either bring it on, put up a good fight, right? Or say, I'm out. So I invite you to take a moment and have a look at your own life. Perhaps close your eyes. That's always helpful for us to have a look in our own life and feel the area. Where do I, the I that is sitting in your seat, where do I come to life with this reaction that we all have to either fight or to flee? And just identify for yourself that part of your life, and then I invite you to bring your eyes, allow your eyes to open again and come back as we go through the rest of this talk. I assume everyone has an area where they are like, oh yeah, this is how I react to that. Like me in the shopping line at the cash register, you know, this is just what I do. So this time I have used what I have learned about seeing waiting as an opportunity for spiritual growth, rather than giving into that innate reaction that we all have. Now, don't get me wrong. We all need to have that barometer if we are in an unsafe situation. If we are in a situation that doesn't serve us anymore, we have to have it. And humans are still around, so it has served us well over all this time that we have been here when the saber tiger showed up or somebody who wanted to do us harm. It served us well to have this impulse that we don't even have to think about to protect us by either fighting or taking off. But I believe that this spiritual growth that we are called forth asks us to examine it. Take the time to go within and have a look at, is this for my highest and best? For the evolution of my soul, of my beingness? Or might there be a different way? So let's read that quote one more time. Patience is an extremely difficult discipline precisely because it counteracts our unreflective impulse to flee and to fight. Yeah. Let's have a breath. Right here in this moment, let us realize that there is really nothing that we need to do. I think so often when life comes at us with such horrendous speed, we fall into this idea that I have to have an answer. I have to have an answer. How about giving ourselves the sacred pause? Reverend Dr. Penny Macy, who used to be the senior minister here for a couple of years, she had a perfect line when anybody would come with this great idea. Often it was me. You know, in ministerial school, I was full of ideas, and I would be like, how about we do this, and then and she would say, Karen, I will take that to my prayer chair and let you know. Brilliant. Now I see the brilliance of that. And so one of my invitations today is find your own phrase that grants you that pause. It might be, that is a good idea, let me think about that. Or whatever works for you. If you have a prayer chair, by all means, say that. I'm going to go into my prayer chair. Or I need some more time and information to let you know how I feel about that. Isn't that unusual? Right? We are so trained to have an answer. We are I want to fix it kind of peoples. Yeah. I am asking us to hone in our skills to create a sacred pause. Lao Tzu says it this way in the Tao Te Ching. do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? I think these are questions that we can ask ourselves daily. Am I willing to let the mud settle before I even respond to whatever has landed in front of me? I want to share the story of Hanukkah. As many of you know, tonight is the first night of Hanukkah, and our Jewish brothers and sisters are celebrating this event that happened many years ago, where the Maccabees, faithful Jewish people, found their temple destroyed. And all of the containers that held the sacred oil for the 8 days to light the menorah were broken, all but one, leaving only enough oil for the candles to burn for 1 day and not for the entire time. At that time, they made a decision. It is said that they prayed and then they partnered with the divine, because they have received this divine inspiration to go ahead and light the candles anyway. Even though, by all means, by all facts, there would only be enough oil for 1 day. And then, as we all know, the miracle happened, and it burned for the entire time, for the 8 days. And so, what I love about that story is that pointing towards having patience, waiting for the divine inspiration, and then, and just then, to go ahead and move forward. And so we would like to honor this day, the first day of Hanukkah. And so I'm going to invite Amy Diamondstein and Peggy Kepner up, and I would invite every person of the Jewish tradition and faith, if you are called, to please come forward. And we are going to light the menorah. And I would like to share with you, maybe if you could be in front of it over there, that would be great. Thank you. Since I don't have a mask on and I just want to stay over here. And I want to share with you the blessings that Amy is going to sing, because she will sing them in Hebrew. The first one is the blessing over the tradition of lighting the candles in acknowledgement of the miracle of the oil that lasted 8 nights. The second blessing in gratitude to God for creating miracles like these in our lives. And then the third is the blessing about this being a special occasion and sacred times, gratitude and celebration of life.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, She'asani sim la'avotenu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Thank you. Thank you for that. How sacred it is to witness. Waiting. This time of waiting that we all find ourselves in, individually. Perhaps this is a time of waiting to hear the results of a test or to see if a new treatment works. Perhaps it is the time of waiting for some papers to come through so you can travel again, or for this pandemic to be over. As a community, we are creating the container for people to come to and be in as they are waiting. We create these spaces where we are holding all of our beloveds as they are walking through whatever it is they're walking through to the best of our ability. And as a world, we are waiting. We are waiting through this time where the days are shorter and the nights and the darkness is so big. And we're finding ways to share our own life by celebrating one another, by walking with one another. For many, this is a time of struggle, of strife, of despair. And I would like to offer this quote by Christina Baldwin, who says, "The gift of despair is that it offers us a process for making peace with what is and becoming comfortable with new perceptions." And that is the gift that this loss of control is wrapped in. For us to realize that the path towards the good, through it, is by realizing that we didn't have all that much control to begin with. That is not why we are here. That is not why we are on this path to have control, but rather to open ourselves up and to look and love and be with what's right in front of us. That is the gift of waiting. And so my invitation for these next couple of weeks is this: to take time to develop your own spiritual pause, to create that spaciousness around you in which you can grow and have your being. And perhaps asking yourselves, What have I not learned yet from this? What have I not learned yet from this? I am so grateful we are together on this journey. Thank you. And in this prayed up space, I invite the practitioners of this teaching, the ministers who are in service, who are here present, to please rise as we hold this consciousness together. The rising up is just a representation. And so we allow ourselves to rise up within to that highest place, the place where we know that we know, the place of awe of the miracles that happen every day, the place of awe to be alive right here, to be at the green becoming of our new expression. The place of awe, of that place within where we are so connected to the divine. And as we step fully into it, we realize that this now moment is a divine moment. That this place where we stand, where we sit, is of the Most High. That everything that happened before has brought us right here. And so we open our minds and hearts for the light that lives within us to shine out, to bless one another, to bless every person that has placed a prayer request into our prayer box, to bless all of the prayer requests that remain on our hearts. Allowing the power of love to heal through us as us. And so it is with a grateful heart for all the good that I simply place this word into universal law. The law that says yes. Yes, my beloveds, it's already done. It is returned to you just as you placed it into the law. And we say thank you. Thank you, life, for the realization, for the knowingness, for the goodness. We let it be, and so it is.